Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Self-Love Circle. I'm Cylla, and this is your sacred space to breathe, feel, and remember who you really are. Today, we're going to be exploring one of the most tender and powerful journeys I've ever talked about. The journey from the mask to the authentic self. We're going to talk about the characters that we create to survive. The moment the mask starts cracking and the messy, beautiful process of shedding it, and why real self-love can only begin when we finally stop performing and start being. If you've ever felt like you're just watching yourself live someone else's life, I certainly have. If you've ever wondered why intimacy feels split in two, well, that's me. Or why you can show up so strongly in one area in your life, but completely disconnected in another. This one's for you. So, grab your cup of coffee, grab your cup of tea. I'm still stuck at Christmas, I guess. And let's go deep together. I want you to start off by taking a slow breath with me. Inhale for 4 counts, hold, exhale for 6. Ready? Anytime you feel like you're disconnected from your body, do that same practice. It's super simple. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, and exhale for 6. That helps to reset your nervous system and allow you to feel settled in your body so that you can move forward. Now, get comfy, get your chair. You are in a safe space. No performance is required here, just you and me. So, I want to share something that I've, rarely talked about or said out loud in that much detail. Because it's really my story, but it's also the very reason I'm here coaching you today. From a very young age, I was already wearing a mask. I just didn't have a name for her until I entered, in a more adult lifestyle when I was 35 years old. That's when Dee was officially born. Dee became a full-blown character, a full-blown, bold, sensual, athletic, always turned on, always desired, always performing. Strength even when I was falling apart inside. Dee was my armor. She protected the sensitive, scared little girl who didn't feel safe being fully seen, but desperately wanted it. She made sure I was never too much and never not enough, at least on the surface. For a long time, I had a really hard time seeing the separation between my authentic self and Dee. Dee wasn't just something I did. She felt like me. The lines were blurred so completely that I couldn't tell where the performance ended and the real Cylla began. But there was a definite break in my psyche. When it came to sexual intimacy versus emotional intimacy, in sexual spaces, I could fully embody Dee, confident, free, performing the fantasy without missing a beat. My body knew exactly how to show up there, but emotionally, I stayed completely disconnected. I could give my body, I could create pleasure, I could be the fantasy for everyone else, but I couldn't give my heart. And honestly, the relationship I was in, I wasn't even allowed to even try to give my heart. It was an agreement that it was just physical, no emotion. But unfortunately, that's just not how it is. Emotion is part of every connection. It's your energy in motion. And while I was D and I was keeping these things separated, then I was never able to fully embrace any part of a connection. The two parts of me barely spoke to each other. It was like I had built a wall right down the middle of my soul. One side for the performance, one side locked away, where no one could touch the real fear, the real tenderness, the real me. Over time, living as D slowly became full dissociation. I'd film content, post photos, show up in rooms full of people playing the role. No social anxiety as D, but Cylla, on the other hand, she's completely afraid of everyone. I'd feel completely disconnected from my own body and hide behind that mask. My memory started glitching. Whole chunks of nights or conversations or even whole times when I had filmed would just vanish. No memory. Anxiety and depression got louder and louder. And to be honest, I put myself on medication just because I thought it was just really me. I watch old videos and think, wow, she's incredible. She's great, but that's just not me anymore. I just felt like a ghost watching someone else live my life. The mask had become a cage, and I didn't even know that I was trapped in it. But then, over time, and especially after my car accident, the cracking began. The dark nights of the soul, the deep shadow work, the moments where the performance just exhausted me so completely that I just couldn't keep up anymore. I remember one night just sitting on the floor, lights off, crying so hard my body shook, asking out loud, who the hell am I without her? She's me. How could that not really be me? That realization and the grief behind it hit like a wave. Grief for all the years I'd spent hiding. For the little girl who she had become someone else to just be safe, just to make it in the world. That question just cracked me open. Who am I? For the first time, I saw the little girl who started wearing the mask. And, she was created a long time before all the filming and the adult industry ever entered my life. She was created when the trauma was created. I saw the pain that she carried, and something shifted. I felt the first real wave of self-love. Not for Dee, the character, but for Cylla, the person, the real me, raw, healing, becoming. Shedding that identity wasn't about hating Dee. She kept me alive. She built this whole empire of fantasy, fun, desire. She got me through things no one should have to endure. It was about choosing to stop performing all the time and just start living. And just finally letting sexual and emotional intimacy live in the same room inside my heart. And honestly, just opening my heart up at all. For the first time, I could fully see both. If you are nodding along right now and in any part of that split feels familiar, just breathe. You're not alone in this. I'm not alone in this. Many of us are carrying our own version of D, that mask behind the real you, that mask that's covering up the part of you that you're too afraid to show the world, that inner child that needs to be seen. So, my question to myself was, why do we do this? Why do we make these masks? Why do we hide behind something that is not truly ourselves? You know, masks usually begin as a brilliant childhood survival tool. In my case, maybe being the, quote, good girl got you loved and approval. Maybe being funny and tough kept you safe from ridicule and even abandonment. Maybe being sensual and accomplished made the pain quieter for a while. Maybe you learned that showing your real feelings made people leave. So you learned to perform that you're just fine. These strategies worked when we were little. They kept us safe in environments that didn't know how to hold us, hold the real us. Spiritually, we are eternal energy beings, having a temporary human experience in this 3D world. Part of the game is to forget who we really are so that we can have this beautiful experience of remembering. The mask is the forgetting. The ego it just has an elegant way of saying, if I control how I'm perceived, I control how safe I feel. If I control what others think of me, I control the environment around me. But your highest self, your soul, it doesn't need that armor. Your soul is already whole, complete, already worthy, already enough. That ego mask just blocks the light and keeps us in that split. The longer you wear it, the more we do things like disconnect from our intuition and our third eye and that inner guidance, that gut instinct. We chase these goals and relationships that belong to that character, not our soul. And oh my gosh, did I find out that the character has all kinds of friends. But the true self, not so many. We manifest from fear and lack instead of aligned self-love. We rob ourselves of real intimacy, real connection with others, and with ourselves. We stay stuck in cycles of anxiety, depression, or that vague, I'm just missing something feeling. And here's the gentle truth. None of this makes you broken. Trust me, I've felt broken for so long. And it's not that you're broken. It's just that you're human. This life is duality. This life is good and bad, give and take. Everything is, the yin and the yang. It makes you someone who was doing the best she could with what she knew at the time. This journey to your highest self, it's not linear. It's a spiral. You move through these stages again and again and again. And each time you move through them, you move with more compassion, self-compassion. The first part of really removing that mask is the awakening, or that cracking in that foundation. During that time, you start to feel the exhaustion of performing. And trust me, it's been a while. And I'm finally feeling like I can step back into the light. During this awakening period, triggers normally hit harder than they did before. You may catch yourself like mid-sentence or mid-action thinking, this isn't me. It's uncomfortable, but it's the first crack of the light in that darkness. After the awakening, after the removing the mask, after that cracking begins, unfortunately, you have to go through that dark night of the soul. And that includes grief and resistance. When the mask starts to slip, grief rushes in like a flood. Who will love the real me? Who's actually going to like me? I'm so socially inept when I'm not Dee. That fear, shame, and your inner child scream loud like, please don't remove that mask. Old patterns may flare up. But the truth is this is sacred work. And the only way to get through that grief, the only way to get through that resistance is to feel it. Don't bypass it because it's not going to work. Sit with the emotions. Cry it out, scream it out, yell it out, write it down. Feel it. Let them move through you. This is where that deep, dark shadow work really becomes your best friend. You pull out those shadows, all that stuff you don't like, and you begin to play with them. After facing those shadows, after feeling that grief and that resistance towards your true self, unfortunately, it doesn't get easier. There is then a time of, I don't know what you would call it, maybe the void. It's this terrifying, like, in between. And a lot of times I feel like I'm stuck there right now. That old identity is gone. Dee's been filed upon the shelf. The new one is just not fully formed yet. It's like feeling like the kid all over again. This emptiness, this loss, this directionless, but also this sacred space, this safe space, this space of pure potential. That is where real self-love begins. It quietly grows in the silence. And the fact is that the silence and this time, this void, is exactly what you need. It's the time where you finally can hear your own thoughts. It's the time where you have cut everyone off, left everything behind. It's the time to recognize the old mask and the time that you're able to set it aside. That's when the self-love really starts to grow, in that silence. The next step is reclamation, reclaiming who you really are. And that takes these small, brave little acts of authenticity to start to feel possible. You know, quit wearing the makeup, quit fixing the hair, quit dressing up in a character. Speak in your real voice. Don't be afraid to speak. I can say all these things to you because these are things that I felt myself. No matter how many podcasts I've done, no matter how many times I've been on stage, no matter how many times I've performed, I was never having to do it as my real self. Dee was always there to protect me. But now, that authenticity, that real me, starts to feel possible. For the girl who, I always said I was the girl who never said no. Well, saying no without a long explanation, I'm still working on it. But speaking your truth, even if your voice shakes. Choosing your clothes, your words, your boundaries that feel good instead of just trying to impress someone else. Each of those small little things rebuilds trust within yourself. Not feeling like you have to perform, but instead wanting to share the story and the message for the sake that maybe someone else is feeling it too. It makes you feel not so alone. And it makes you reclaim that authentic self that you lost so long ago. Once you have reclaimed that authentic self, then it's time to put it in action, and that must be where I am today. That embodiment, that you start to live as just the real you. You know, it's been so easy to live as the real me with my family and with my children, and I've always been the real me with them, but just not in front of the public. It's not perfect, but it's just present. You may laugh differently, you may cry without apology, I certainly do. You feel your intuition loud and clear. And the amazing thing is, if you do have that sexual connection, then that emotional intimacy and that sexual intimacy begin to merge. Self-love becomes your natural state instead of something you're chasing. It's something that just is. And learning to just be who you are without trying to live up to some fantasy and maybe a life that wasn't ever really yours, truly is a gift. Signs you're in this shedding process may be like craving silence, peace. I know I certainly do. Over that constant chaos and noise. Feeling repelled by those old habits or people that are low vibrational energy, that low negativity that maybe you surrounded yourself before. These big emotional waves that come out of just nowhere. Vivid dreams, sudden clarity about what just no longer fits. Or maybe that gentle pull towards the solitude and that truth. What you have to do is just honor every stage. You're not behind. There's no timeline. It may take you years. It certainly has for me. But it took me years and the majority of my life to even create the mask and wear it for all those years. So don't feel like you're stuck or behind. You're exactly where you need to be. Because here's the core truth that I want you to take with you. You cannot fully love yourself while loving a performance. Affirmations directed at the mask just stay surface level. Real self-love is just unconditional. It looks like the scared, the messy, tender. I see you. I've got you. You don't have to perform for my love. You don't have to split yourself in two anymore. When you unmask, you finally meet your inner child and give her that safety she never had. Reparent her. Allow her to just be her. You integrate that shadow side, the side that was full of shame and loss, so that it loses power over you. You align with your dharma, your soul's purpose, and it flows naturally instead of being forced. Your relationships become real instead of role-playing, deeper, more intimate, more honest. You don't have to put on an act anymore. And honestly, manifestation becomes effortless because you're no longer split in energy. this is where my manifestation method, the dream routine, really starts working at a whole new level. And I can't wait to share that with you. Your sexual and your emotional intimacy can finally merge, integrate inside of you. No more walls, no more performance, just presence. Self-love is not the reward waiting at the end of the journey. It's the courage that allows the entire journey to happen. It's the gentle hand that holds you while you peel back every layer. You know, they say you're an onion, so we got lots of layers. But the self-love is the key. Until you face those layers, until you start to peel them away, it's really hard to connect with that highest self. So, I'm going to give you some practical and doable things that I've used myself. Here are 3 soft invitations for this week. Take them at your own pace, and this is not homework. It's just self-love in action. There is a mirror practice where you stand or sit in front of a mirror. Maybe it's even your phone, you know, this black mirror. Look into your own eyes for a full 60 seconds. I know it's a long time. But say out loud, I see you, the real you. I'm here. I love you, all of you, even the parts that you tried to hide. Let whatever emotion comes come. If tears show up, let them. If laughter bubbles up, let it. This is you meeting you. Trust me. Do it. Look, you can see the emotion immediately comes out. Another one is the one truth share. Tell one safe person, or write it in your journal if that makes you feel better. Something you've been hiding behind the mask. It can be small. I've been pretending I'm okay when I'm really struggling. Notice how your nervous system responds afterward. Notice the lightness that follows the truth, your truth. Another one is mask inventory. Grab your journal. These questions slowly. What role am I still playing in my life right now? What is the character protecting me from if you still feel like you're connected? And how would the real me show up instead? If it's in my relationships, in my work, in my intimacy, just write down whatever comes. No judgment, no right answers, no wrong answers, just curiosity and self-compassion. Do this gently. No ripping the mask off overnight. You don't have to do that. Only loving, conscious peeling back of those layers, like an onion. Wherever you are in this path, just noticing the mask, deep in that grief, sitting in that void of silence, or already tasting that little bit of freedom, I honor you. You're so brave for being here. You're so brave for choosing to see yourself. We're all just walking each other home, mask by mask, heart by heart, layer by onion layer. And thank you for trusting me with your energy today. If you've enjoyed this, please join my Patreon and join my self-love circle. And, let me know how you're feeling in the comments. Right cracking, grieving, void, reclaiming, embodying me. I will read every single one and hold space for you. The next episode, I will go even deeper into another piece of this transformational work. And until then, please keep choosing the real you, even in the small moments. You are worthy, you are whole, you are home, exactly as you are. I love you deeply and see you soon.